Welcome to Reddit Reader. Serious. Redditors who were in school the day of and after 9/11. What was it like? How did your school react to it? I was in the 5th grade and had seen the second plane hit at my friend's house before we walked to school. I live in Iowa, but my uncle worked in the Pentagon. My grandma called my school to tell me that he was alive and made it out, but they never gave me the message. He made it out of the building after the plane hit, but ran back in multiple times to rescue people still trapped. He ended up being one of 10 people to receive both the Purple Heart and the Soldier's Medal for his actions on that day. I run a website called American September, where I collect Where Were You on 9/11 stories from all 50 states and all around the world. It all started basically because of my innocent 9/11 memory as a kid. Once I realized what had really happened and how little I understood in the moment, it really changed my life. On September 11th, 2001, I didn't know the world had changed. I was a first grader at Reeves Elementary in Long Beach, Mississippi. The school decided we were too young to turn on the television and show us what was happening, so they left that to our parents. Kids were being checked out of school, and my father came to eat lunch with me in a half-empty cafeteria. We sat in silence. I still didn't know. The day I clearly remember is September 12th. My father sat me in the car on a foggy morning before school and said, "The World Trade Center is gone." I asked, "What's the World Trade Center?" At school, our teacher tried to comfort us, but no kid my age could possibly understand all of what happened. Sometime in the weeks that followed, my school entered a penny donation fundraiser to help recovery efforts at Ground Zero. The class that raised the most pennies won a pizza party. As a 6-year-old kid, I heard help and pizza, which were two things I did understand. I put in a big effort, and when I asked neighbors or family members for donations, I would say, "Do you want to donate money to New York? People are trapped in the World Trade Center." I didn't know they were all dead. The money we were raising went towards recovering body parts for funerals, not finding survivors. No one wanted to tell an innocent kid they were all dead. After an awkward hesitation, they filled my jar up and thanked me. I remember going to the bank with my dad to turn the donations to pennies and telling the teller what it was for. I remember dragging a red radio flyer wagon filled with massive jars of pennies into school like a hero and telling everyone it was going straight to New York. And I remember the sad joy on my teacher's face when I showed her what I had done and told her not only were we going to help those people in New York, we were going to win that pizza party. Along with my money, I drew up the design for a robot with big claw arms and a slot in its back for pennies. For each penny inserted, my robot found a body. I encouraged my teacher to send my designs to New York with the money. My robot never made it to New York, but the pennies did. We won the pizza party, and I felt second only to the president's perfect opening pitch and patriotism. A few years later, in a random moment, it hit me that all those people were dead. I had saved no one. I was mad no one told me. I was angry that I acted like such a foolish kid. I don't feel mad or foolish remembering it anymore. I was an American boy who wanted to help people and eat pizza. I felt like a hero walking into school wheeling that red penny wagon behind me. America needed heroes. It took me a while to grow up, but when I did, I really found a purpose in life, which is remembering that day. It was nerve-wracking. My mom was working in one of the towers, and I had literally no idea of her whereabouts the entire morning. We were reunited when she came to pick me up. Students who had family were allowed to convene in our auditorium, and there were many of us crying, scared, and some even prayed together. Eventually, some other people used the opportunity to cut classes. I still remember one student claiming this was the beginning of World War III, IV, and V. I can't remember when we were allowed back to school. I still remember being reunited with my mom and also seeing the skyline without the World Trade Center for the first time, and that there was still a haze from all the ash and debris. Some other students said they saw buildings collapse from their classrooms. I think I would have been absolutely hysterical if I had seen it. Freshman year of high school, the Dutch equivalent at least. I heard the news on the radio and calmly told my mom to turn on the TV. It took some convincing, but she did. The next day, we watched the whole thing at school. One classmate said his coach was in New York at the moment and he was waiting to hear from him. Coach was fine. The weird thing is that in my memory, the whole thing plays out in my childhood home. In reality, we had moved that summer, so I was in an entirely different house and do not know why I remember it differently. I was in college. The classes were really quiet. No one was talking before classes. A few of the classes went on as scheduled. Others we just kind of sat around and talked about everything. I had a business class that night. The entire 3 hours was spent discussing how this would probably affect the economy. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, and subscribe so you don't miss our next upload.